I am the host, Richard Ravensbrook, a man, a life coach, and a spiritual mentor who has endeavored to find real spiritual truth and self-enlightenment. With experiences in various ministry types, pagan traditions, and even magical paths. With a love for Mother Earth and the balance of life, I work to channel spirit and to help educate and mentor those striving to deconstruct from mainstream religion and to empower them to find the divinity within themselves and to the truth around them. The messages are focused on everyday life, creating an environment of real coexistence, a world of mutual respect, love, and dignity. The pagan preacher is all things, the preacher and the pagan, speaking from the wisdom of spirit. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Ravensbrook. I am Reverend Richard Kent, the pagan preacher. Let us start today as we normally do. We do our breathing. We breathe in the positive, and we exhale the negative. Why do we do that? Because we want to open ourselves to spirit. We want to open ourselves, our hearts, to be available, to be in the now, to be present with spirit. We want to release everything, let everything go, and breathe in positive energy, positive thoughts, positive intentions. Because what I want to talk about today, or should I say what I feel spirit urging me to speak on, is our world, our country, and the issues at hand. And I know that I have spoken about this many times. The Spirit says that we must keep coming back until it's heard. Not just with our ears, but with our hearts. Where it's felt, where it's understood. And when we begin to act on the things that we know are right, and begin to move forward in making positive change. We hear topics like racism and bigotry. We see the divisions. We see the chaos. We see just the pains and sufferings of all people, not just one race. Yes, there are times when one race or one people may encounter or have encountered greater instances of pains and sufferings. What we have to focus on right now is the fact that all of us together are faced with problems, faced with so much controversy, so much mental, emotional turmoil, from everything about how we were raised to what we're taught, what we're seeing, what we see on TV, what we hear on the radio, what the news wants to send out there. But we have to find that place. We have to find that time where we come together and stop the bickering. We don't have to decide on anything, but what we choose is that we will sit down and begin to move forward. It's that simple. When we talk about topics like racism, the fastest way to end racism is to stop talking about it. You're going to say, well, that's impossible. We stop talking about it, it'll just get worse. but I can't agree because I know it's not true. Yes, we probably, for many years to come, will still have racist people. But I believe through the years, it will decrease and decrease and decrease as the world begins to see the rights and the wrongs of how people lived and believed in days that were so much darker. The days that men and women were seen as less because of their race, their color, their gender. But we come to the point where we want to move forward. And though we understand there's going to be hate in this world, in our country, we don't want to speak about it in negative, or we don't want to put that, how do I want to say it? We don't want to just cloud our minds and our lives with something and a topic that is utterly depressing. People will say, well, it's a topic that we need to address. And I believe this is addressing that issue. Because I see prejudice on many sides. I see racism on many sides. I see the news increasing racism. I see things on the news and around our country the last couple of years. People doing acts to discourage and end racism when all that it did was increased. Because certain news media and certain corporate elites would have you believing that these issues are real, believing that you can't be all that you can be in this country because of who you are. But that's absolutely untrue. Anyone in this country can be anything they choose to be. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are or what sexual orientation you are. If you have the drive, if you have the want to, you can be anything you choose to be. That's a fact. Yeah, you may have obstacles. You may have hurdles that others do not. But the fact of the matter is, if you choose to quit, you chose to quit. It's not anybody else's fault. The world is a harsh place, sadly. And it's a harsh place because we can't find that place and that time to sit down and say, why do we feel this way? Why are these things happening in this world? Why do people act the way they do? We're all human beings on planet Earth. We're all here. Though we may be different in our cultures and in our looks, we are the same. And together we can do so much more. You know, even biblically, we remember a time when people were together in one mind, in one accord, and they were building and doing magnificent things. But then they were split and their languages confused. Why? Maybe that's something for true thought. Why? And we look at our earth, we look at our people, all people. And why can't we come together as one? Is it religions? Do religions say that you can't be yoked with another religion? That you can't live in the same community and work together if you're different? Or can non-Christians work with Christians and Muslims work with Buddhists, and why not? Why can't people simply love each other as people and focus on the character of the individual, not what they believe and not what they don't believe? Bigotry. Most bigotry comes from the way we're raised and what we're told is right and wrong. Religion says it has to be this way or that way. When we grow up, our parents told us and taught us, well, this is the proper way to do things, this is the improper way to do things. Radio tells us, TV tells us, or did. And then we get in the frame of mind that anything outside of that box of what we were taught is wrong. And that we possibly can't be wrong. Our educators couldn't be wrong. Our teachers couldn't have been wrong. That if you are outside that box, you have to be wrong. But they're wrong. Bigotry is the non-acceptance of free will. Because if someone has free will, they have free choice. And your free choice doesn't give you the power or the right to limit someone else's free choice. Free will to live on this planet as they choose. As long as they're not hurting anyone else unwillingly, they have the right to do whatever it is that fills their heart with contentment. It's our duty in our own life to follow our path, to be real with ourselves, to be open and honest with ourselves. But most of us aren't. Most of us stay closed up. We wear a mask everywhere we go, trying to be something that we aren't, trying to pretend to be happy, doing things that we know we're not happy in, because we're doing what others told us we should do rather than doing what Spirit tells us we need to do. Racism, bigotry, all these things all come down to this: loving people, period. Loving people for being people. Loving people because loving is the right thing to do. When townspeople begin to unite when bad things have happened, and they begin to have each other's back, and they begin to help each other, and they begin to work together, even people that don't know each other, what happens? The community grows. The spirit within that community blossoms and change happens. That's not only seen, but it's felt. And that can happen in our country and in our entire world if we can just get to that point. Sadly, religion is a major, how do you want to say it? It's a major, I don't want to say it's a major problem, but it's a major contributor, there you go, to why we can't find peace. Different people want different governments, different ways of living, ways of doing this or certain, and there's always going to be, that's the problem with the human mentality, is we want freedom, but at the same time we want security. We want safety. But we can't stand to be in a box. We can't stand to be limited. We have to be able to grow. We have to be able to expand our horizons. That's what being a human is. We are growing intellectually. We are becoming enlightened as a species. But many of us can't get past the flesh, the simple limitations of flesh, because someone's a different color or different race, or someone has a different sexuality than what you can approve of. But why do they need your approval to begin with? Your life is your life, and their life is their life. I don't have to play the role of God or a God, and neither do you. It's not our responsibility to save souls, but it is our responsibility to be our brother or our sister's keeper, to be that hand of need in our community. No matter what religion that you are, or even if you are of no religion at all, I believe that you can understand and agree that if we all simply cared about each other, respected each other, respected free will and free choice, respected each other's right to those things. You know, there's certain things when we talk about respect. Respect can be one person's a Christian and the other person's not. Well, it can be disrespectful for the Christian to constantly proclaim their religion as the only right one. But then at the same time, it can also be disrespectful for the non-Christian to do things and to do actions that they know are offensive to the Christian. And how do we do that? How do we work together, no matter what religion that we're talking about here? Because we learn common respect of differences. We understand they're different. We acknowledge the fact that they're different, that they believe different, that they live different. And we respect that. We truly respect that. And we try within ourselves to not offend out of respect. Not out of fear or not out of intimidation, but we do so out of respect, out of love and wanting for others what we would want for ourselves. And when we begin to do that, the world becomes an entirely different place. No more divisions and no more of this crazy, bigoted mentality that we see so much in our country. So much that we label people and we define people by what they look like or what they act like sometimes, when we don't know the whole person. You know, we make judgments, sometimes false judgments, that destroy people's lives. And we do so sometimes without a thought, that we just don't understand that our words are power, that we have to understand that when we act hateful, when we act like we're better than someone else, then that manifests all around us. And it manifests in other people, because that atmosphere begins to get toxic and people feel the toxicity. That's why when we come here, before we begin, we do our breathing. But it's not just breathing, we're visualizing. We are making this happen within ourselves. We want to change our atmosphere. And that's what we want to do to our world. We want to change that atmosphere. Stop talking about things that you don't have to talk about. Let's act accordingly rather than just gossip and talk trash. You see someone that you feel is a racist or someone that is a bigot, or someone that just is filled with hate, or someone that just absolutely is a toxic person, you have a choice of how to handle that situation. And how you handle that situation determines the future of that entire environment. And you times that by 100, by 1,000, and all the people around the globe. And we can see why we can't make any ground when it comes to world peace. We've got to make better choices. Will we ever get rid of hateful, bigoted, racist people? I hope so. But I don't want to focus on it every day of my life either. What I know is I will treat everyone with respect and dignity. And I hope that they will do the same for me. And if we do that together, those topics will never have to come up. And we'll begin to push out and ignore those that are so filled with hate they just can't listen, or they can't conform to what is right, that they begin to just fade out. They begin to not be the barking dog that's just always yelling hateful, mean comments, but they become just a faded voice that eventually just disappears. But what's left is that essence of love and dignity that we have for each other, for all people. That's how we get that world peace. That's how we get to the point in our lives and in our world that we can grow as a species and not a race. You know, it would be so... What would it be like? Stop for a moment to understand, to truly understand, never a war ever again. That people did not have to die over arguments of land and wealth, prosperity, but that all of us work together for one thing: enlightenment, and for the future of humanity as a whole. Because we all have something to offer. We all have gifts within us. Every race, every individual has things within them, like puzzle pieces scattered all over the earth. But when all those pieces come together, that true whole picture can be seen. Evil forces have tried to keep us apart, using things like religion, divisions, and all the different things that have kept us divided. Opinions that are just that: ignorant, not knowing, not understanding opinions, rather than just sitting down and understanding the truth for what it is. And sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes the truth hurts by showing actions that are negative. You know, over the last couple of years, we had many horrible things happen. And many people will say that they happened for good reason. They needed to happen. But the actions were wrong. The actions were bad. And they didn't have any good outcome. And I bring this up because, again, Spirit says we have to make better choices. We have to control our emotions and understand our actions cause reactions. And actions cause things to ripple, cause things to change, and not always for the positive. We want positive change, don't we? If we want positive change, we got to stop throwing so much negative out there. Because what happens when you have positive and negative all over the place? You have a boom. We have to work together. We have to find that place. And sometimes silence can be that place. You see that racist, that guy over there, that lady over there that's just wants to be the Karen, wants to be the hateful individual, the toxic individual that always wants to say bad things and harmful, hurtful things. Why don't you just turn around? Let Spirit handle that situation. And you handle you. It takes the bigger person, yes. Because mentally, emotionally, we want to say something. We want to address that issue. But I'm going to tell you now that unless they're spiritually ready, your words will fall on blind ears, or deaf ears, should I say. They have to be ready. And sometimes making them ready is by simply ignoring what they're doing, what they're saying. We focus on the positive and we turn our back to the negative. We inflame the positive. Every spark we ignite, we pour the fuel on it and raise that fire higher and higher. But the negative, we just let it burn out. We turn our backs and we let it burn out. We stop talking about it and we start acting accordingly. We start acting as we should be, as a human species. Just a human species. It doesn't matter if you're a white human species or a black or a Chinese or a Japanese. It doesn't matter. We are in this together. That's it. And together, we get out of this. We grow in ourselves. Not religiously, but we grow as a species intellectually to the point where we can reach for the stars, where we can be more than what we are now. That we're all not just no more than monkeys in the trees throwing feces at each other, but that we can be enlightened beings with true insight, true wisdom, true understanding, and that we can love all species for what they are. We can respect all species for what they are, understanding the differences and respecting those differences. That's the way to peace. And it's simple, because all it takes is just what I said. Emotional. Turn your back if you just don't know what else to do and just walk away. Stay silent. Let Spirit handle those things. Let the universe handle those things. Trust me, they will be handled. But let's see a real positive movement in our world. Take someone's hand. Raise them up. Help them. Out of respect. Out of love. Even if you don't know that person, you can do something. The homeless person on the sidewalk, remember that love and that respect. You don't know how they got there. You don't know why they're there, but you do know they need help. The person down the street that needs help paying a bill, can you help? Those little things can make a tidal wave of differences. Love others as you would want to be loved. That's it. Just take some time. Think about what Spirit is trying to say. World peace is possible. Great positive things are to come. And I'd like to be able to see them, some of them myself. For our children, for our grandchildren. Let's make that move. Let's take that step. Lower our weapons, lay them down, and say, I'll take my brother and my sister's hand, and we'll walk forward. I respect them, they respect me. And if I don't have anything good to say, I won't say anything at all until Spirit teaches me what to say. Be blessed, everyone, and blessed be. Thank you, everyone. This is Richard Ravensbrook. From my heart to yours, I hope you are blessed. Please be a blessing. Share these podcasts. Share my short videos. Tell the world the work that's being done. Help me open the minds of those so closed. Help me bring into the fold those seeking truth and enlightenment. Be blessed.